What's going on, you guys? Today we're going to be learning the song Jamie All Over by Mayday Parade. I discovered this band during my 10th grade year whilst I was traveling across all of the national parks of America. So picture this, my dad and I in a huge silver F-350 with a 50-foot trailer in tow, jamming out to Mayday Parade. It was a good time. This band has a special place in my heart, probably partially due to that experience that I tie them to, but they just also rock, man. I don't know what else to tell you. They're just good, and so is the song, so let's learn it. You are watching Logan's Lessons. The first thing we have to talk about in this song is tuning. This song is in drop C sharp. If you don't know what that means, don't fret. The strings going from your face down to the floor will go as follows. We have C sharp. That is 1.5 steps down from our standard C. Then we have all of the other strings just down a half step. So that would be G sharp, C sharp, F sharp, A sharp, and finally D sharp. That is the tuning. Make sure to have your guitar properly tuned before moving forward with this guitar lesson. Starting with the verses, we have 3 chords. The first chord is our first finger on the 5th fret of our A string. And then our pinky is up here on the 7th fret of our G. It should sound like that. Our second chord is super simple from here. We simply move our first finger down a fret to the 4th fret of our A string. You leave your pinky on the 7th fret of your G. That's what the second chord should sound like. And our last chord, we just bar the E, A, and D strings with our first finger on the 5th fret. That is your first finger barring, make sure it hits all 3 of these strings, the low E, the A, and the D string on the 5th fret, leaving your pinky on the 7th fret of your G. All right, those are the chords. Let's talk about the strumming pattern. I like to chunk it into 3 different parts. The first part being a down-up, playing the entire chord. It'll sound like this. Do that with me. Good. The second part is a down-up-down really fast, like a down-up-down. It'll sound like this. So do it with me. Cool. Again. Cool. Okay. Third time, we do a little strike, and then we have an up strum. So the strike, you're just going to want to make sure that your fingers are laying on top of the strings, not pushing down and making any sound. They should just be laying on top of the strings, muting them. So, and then you have the up strum. So we have down, up, down, up, down, strike, up. If I do that for all of the chords all together, do that with me. One more time. That leads us into the pre-chorus. The pre-chorus has 4 different arpeggiated chord shapes. The first of which resembles a D major chord. But for the sake of efficiency in this song, we are going to modify the way we are going to play said D chord. Your first finger, as usual, will be on the 2nd fret of your G string. Then your middle finger, as opposed to your 3rd finger, will be on the 3rd fret of your B string. You will alternate between the B string and the G string. The key here is to play the B string first. You go from B to G 4 times. Then for the second shape, you will simply bar the 2nd fret of your G and B strings. Same picking applies. The third chord, you will take your first finger off of the fretboard and place your middle finger back down on the 3rd fret of your B string. And finally, for the last chord, you will place your first finger on the 2nd fret of your B string and remove your middle, obviously. So if I play the whole thing for you. Now the second time through, it changes slightly. Instead of playing that last chord, we are simply going to stay on the third chord, and we are going to strum it twice. I should mention that up until this point, the entire pre-chorus is palm muted. So if I play the entire pre-chorus, second time, play it with me. That leads us into the chorus. The chorus of the song is the section in the song that takes the most memorization to learn. Not because it's complicated, but because it's the longest section of the song and it has the most parts to learn. We start out with our first finger on the 4th fret of our A string and our pinky on the 6th fret of our G. That shape we slide like this. You just slide it up a fret. Like that. Up to the 5th and 7th. You do a down strum on the 4th fret, then up, down, up on the 5th. Like that. Do it with me. You do that whole shebang 3 times, and then on the 4th time, instead of going to the 5th fret, you just go up to the 9th. So you have... And that's the whole, like, part A of the riff or whatever. You then go back to the beginning and do the 4 to 5 twice. So far we have... Then right here, we stay on the 5th fret and we play it down once more. Then we have 2 palm muted root notes. The A string is your root note. And then we play a down again, 1 more palm mute, another down, 1 last palm mute, and a final down. So that's down, palm mute, down, palm mute, down, palm mute, down. So... Right after that, we go to a B power chord. This will be accomplished by sliding our pre-existing shape down so that our first finger will be on the 2nd fret of your A string, and then your pinky will be on the 4th. The only other modification necessary is to add your ring finger to the 4th fret of your D string. The strumming pattern for this chord will be a down, 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 up, down, up. So 2 very punctual down strums, and then a down, up, down, up. So we have... That same down, 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 up strumming pattern is carried out through the next 2 chords, but you just don't exaggerate the first 2 down strums in the same way. The next 2 chords are as follows: a bar across the top 3 strings on your 7th fret, and then a bar across the top 3 strings on the 5th. I personally prefer to use my 3rd finger as the bar for the 7th fret, and then my 1st for the 5th. But this is optional. You must, however, use your 1st finger as a bar across the 5th fret. Besides that, do what you will. Using your 1st finger is required because this 5th fret bar chord lasts twice as long as the other chord. But after the down, 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 up, down, down, we do a little bend, and that bend will be on the 6th fret of your G string, using your 3rd finger. Bend it up, and then back down. It should sound like this. Once you've made that bend, the whole chorus will start over. So, if I play through that last chord. Allow me to play through one instance of this chorus progression for you. Now I would like you to play along with me. Right after that second chorus, though, is where things change. We have like a post-chorus or a breakdown or whatever you want to call it. We start with a bar on the 9th fret of our low E, A, and D strings. We strum it like this. Down, up, down, up. I'll do that again. Down, up, down, up. So then you change the chord. You go down to the 7th fret. I like to use my first finger for this chord, but that's optional. And the same strumming. Notice it's the same strumming. And then we just hit the 5th fret and let it ring out for 2 measures. So we have... Right there we go back to the first chord of the verse. And then we slide that whole chord shape down a fret and do the same thing. Then we hit the 5th fret again 3 times like this. Ba, ba, ba. Like this. Kind of like Jesus of Suburbia. And then we just slide it back down to the 4th fret and do a ba, ba, ba. Like this. And then you just slide it back up to the 5th fret and you just play it softly. The whole post-chorus is like this. While that chord is ringing out, we just have some vocal stuff happening in what I would consider the bridge of this song. After they do their whole singing spiel, we get this ba, ba, ba again, but this time it's on the 3rd chord of the verse, where we're barring the 5th fret of our E, A, and D strings, and your pinky is still hanging out on the 7th of your G. After that, you wait a few seconds, and on the offbeat right before the final chorus, we do this little harmonic thing I think is so sick, where we hover our finger, I like to use my 3rd finger, over the actual bar of our 12th fret. But you just hover your finger there, just touching the strings. Do not push down. And you just do an upstroke on the G, B, and high E strings. This is right before the final chorus. That lands us into the final chorus, and then we have a proper bridge/outro thingamajig. You play the first 2 chords like the first 2 chords in the chorus, but then it changes. So you have your, then you go back to the 4th fret, you do an extra upstroke, and then down. And then that continues. You play 4 to 5, a total of 8 times. Allow me to demonstrate. Right there, what we do is we slide up to the 9th fret, where your first finger is on the 9th fret, and you play the down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. So just very straight, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. Then you slide it down to the 7th fret and do it again. Then to the 5th fret, and one last time. The whole thing being... repeats. At the end of it, we just stop playing on that 5th fret, and he sings a little something, and then we get 3 more chords, which I think are just ties the whole song together so well. The da 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 thing. That being the first chord of our verse, to the second chord of our verse, and then back to the first one to get. And that is how you play Jamie All Over by Mayday Parade. If you have a song request, please comment or DM me. To be notified of future videos, hit the bell. I sincerely hope that you are well. Please hit that like button blue. I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe too. I hope this video has been a blessing. You've been watching Logan's Lessons.